Welcome to your Legal English course. My name is Thiago Gomes Calmon and I'm going to be your professor for this day. Firstly, let's talk about facts of England. Judges from the Supreme Court in America, they are appointed by the president, like we have in Brazil. In England, people from the justice system set up the members of the Supreme Court. So, if you are lawyers, you are the ones that will be selecting the judges of the Supreme Court in England. Because they have a principle. If you have a prime minister that can change the members of the Supreme Court, you won't be having the rule of law that we spoke before. One important aspect for the balance of power in England is the independency of the judiciary power. So we have a judiciary that is independent, like in Brazil. Since the parliament is supreme, unlike what we have in Brazil, that the three powers are equal, it has the power to choose and decide laws and the policy of the country. So if there must be balance of power and the rule of law, the judiciary must be completely independent from the executive. In Brazil, there have been lots of controversy related to the process that entitles the president the power of picking the ministros of the Supreme Court. Many of us, Brazilians, and the Brazilian society, we believe that those ministros, they might not be as honest as they should, especially when they are judging cases related to the government. Because if the government put them there, there could be sometimes not so much of fairness. Of course, that we tend to believe that because of the fact that the president and the government itself is setting the members of the Supreme Court. Therefore, that it could have created a system without the rule of law as the main principle. This is the position of the English people, that if you like a judiciary that is completely independent, the members of the justice system should decide who are the ministries or the judges of the Supreme Court. Some other facts here. Under English law, one ordinary man can seek justice or challenge the power of the state. Impartiality of the courts is a principle, and judicial review, that's the term, judicial review is what you seek if you want to challenge the power of the state. The courts, they review the decisions of the executive power. Then we might consider we have the parliament that is supreme, and we have a judiciary that is independent. The question is, can the judiciary change the laws of England? No, it can't. But it can balance the power. We have seen that the precedent is binding, so the sole decision of the judge or of the High Court is binding to society, which means that everyone that files a lawsuit seeking for this right will have its rights granted by the courts, and then the executive power will feel like we have a problem, we need to fix it now, otherwise every single ruling of the court will be against our laws. So that's where you find the balance of power in England. Well, here we have the photos of England. The Parliament, the High Court, the Criminal Court, the Old Bailey, the Supreme Court of England, the Magna Carta. We talked also about the King John, a precedent. What is a precedent? A statute, also about London, and a court of law, a courtroom. Speaking a little bit about the parliament, we have the House of Commons, which is where you find the Prime Minister, the political parties, and the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats. The House of Commons is the lower house in England. Despite being the lower house, it is the most powerful house there in the Parliament. The executive power governs the country, represented by the Prime Minister and the party in power. Unlike what we have, which is a president that has the executive power and the decisions under its government, the major house that is elected in the House of Commons is the house that is running the country in England. Back in 1910, since money became much more important than land itself, the House of Commons took off the veto power of the House of Lords, becoming and reaching a superior position in the British government. So the Lords, they can amend the laws, but they cannot veto it. They can also delay the proceedings for 2 years. So even though the House of Commons is the most powerful house, it can negotiate, it needs to negotiate with the House of Lords in order to speed up the proceedings and issue new laws. Let's talk about the House of Lords. We have the upper house. They are the Lords Spirituals. The Lords Spirituals, they are bishops or priests of the Church of England. They are 25. We have the life peers, about 650 people. The life peers, they are lords for life. Scholars, famous lawyers or judges or specialists in their fields. They are under the advice of the Prime Minister, chosen by the Queen to become peers for life, so lords for life. We have also the hereditary peers, 92 according to the Lords Act of 1999. The hereditary peers, they are lords by blood. The ones that their fathers and grandfathers, they were lords, so because of that they are entitled to the peerage, so they are hereditary peers. There used to be many, but after 1999, only 92 elected by themselves are the ones in the House of Lords. The House of Lords, as I have spoken, do not have veto power, and they have not had it since 2010. 1910. The Law Lords since until 2010. There is much more to say about the House of Lords because we Brazilians do not normally know about monarchy. We have been living in the republic system from the end of the 18th century. In the House of Lords, there are no senators or elected officials. A house that reminds us of traditional values, with the hereditary peers, the life peers, nominated by the Queen through the advice of the Prime Minister, and the Lords Spirituals. The Church of England is the official religion of the state. Unlike our state that has no religion, England has an official religion, which is the Church of England, a Christian religion. The Lords Spirituals are bishops and priests of the Church that are chosen to be there in the House of Lords. Since it is the upper house, it reviews the laws made by the Parliament and has the authority to delay the enactment of the laws for 2 years. The Lords will form committees that will scrutinize the law and make the changes that are needed. To scrutinize means to research, to ponder, and to find solutions for the problems. So it's a big research, it's a scrutiny, as the term states. Nowadays, there has been attempts in order to reform the House of Lords and make it fit to modern times in accordance to the ones that are trying to reform, but it has not passed. Nonetheless, the British are not as traditional as they seem, and there has been many modifications under their laws. For example, the enactment of 4,000 new laws in Tony Blair's government. Thank you very much and enjoy our course.